Josh McGrath is the CEO and founder of Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate Central. He started his career at 18 years old and now has 5 offices and 90 plus agents. I talked to Josh, who is also a 2025 RealTrends Verified GameChanger, about the growth of his company, pain points, and also the opportunities. So enjoy the podcast. So Josh, first of all, I want to congratulate you on being a 2025 RealTrends Verified GameChanger. And for our audience, those are brokerages that grew more than 75% over the last 5 years by transaction side percentage. So congratulations.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, and welcome to the RealTrending podcast.
It's exciting to be here.
Yeah, great. And so I want to start at the beginning. You started selling real estate in high school, correct?
So I actually graduated high school in June, and I had my license and was actively selling in September of the same year.
Oh, wow. And so you went on from that to now, I think you have more than 90 agents and 5 offices with Better Homes and Gardens. So tell me, what was that turning point for you when you decided to move from a sales associate to a broker and build an office as big as well, offices as big as you have?
So that probably occurred about 2010.
Mm-hmm.
We opened the company in 2005, and for the first 5 years we worked just as agents. There was 4 agents, a staff person. That's all. We wanted to be this boutique real estate company, kind of do our own thing, provide the level of customer service and experience that we wanted to see people get, and really just focus on that. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, leading up to 2005, so my first 6 years or so in the business, I built a lot of relationships with people in the industry, both at a local, state, national level, in the market, as far as our vendor partners, lenders, home inspectors, et cetera. So all of a sudden, people started kind of knocking on the door saying, can we come work with you? And for the first few years, we didn't really do a whole lot of that. Then we decided let's lean into this a little bit. So we did. And by 2010, I was kind of at that pivotal moment where I had to make a decision. Am I going to be a full-time salesperson or am I going to be a full-time broker? And that's when I made that shift into full-time brokerage.
So that had to be difficult. I think that's a real inflection point for a lot of brokers who, they have to take the choice of making less money for something that could be much bigger down the road, right? Or stay where they are and, continue to increase their income through sales rather than through a brokerage. What, how, because it's risky to make that jump. So what, did you consider that when you did it, or was it just, no, this is what I want to do?
So for me, it was different. I have always enjoyed sales, but I think my bigger passion has been impacting people. And for me, when these folks started kind of leaning in and asking to come work with me, I didn't take that lightly. They wanted trained, they wanted to learn how I was doing things. And so for me, it was an opportunity to kind of lean into that more educational side of the industry and out of the sales side of the industry. So I, for the first year or two was probably a transitional period where we did a blend. I was, the acting broker, but I was still listing and selling some, and then have phased that out consistently over time. I still do list and sell on occasion because I've got some folks that just won't take no for an answer and want to work with me, but which is flattering. But I do try to refer the majority of the business because my time is better spent now working with our agents, helping train, educate, work through challenges. But yeah, you have to determine what's your why, right? We've heard that for years. And at that point, I really had to sit down, look in the mirror for, a day or 3 and determine, why am I doing this? And what do I want the next step to look like?
Yeah, absolutely. And so then in 2020, you affiliated with Better Homes and Gardens. And that was obviously a chaotic time in real estate with the pandemic, and that it looks like it was June. So it was after shutdown. And so Tell me what drove that decision, and what were some of the biggest surprises that you had during that transition?
So I think understanding the timing, right? So I had been kind of shopping around for something different for a few years. And in January of 2020, I actually signed the contract with Better Homes and Gardens. Then March happened, and our June launch was already scheduled. So I kind of was ahead of COVID, but then right in the middle of it all at the same time. And so that was a very big point for me as a leader to have to determine how we're going to roll this out, how we're going to, our agents were already filled with anxiety over what was going on in the market. And this was just going to be another piece of that anxiety. And for me, it was really about the idea of having climbed this ladder and built a really nice company, but I was kind of at the top where I didn't really have anyone that I could lean to for help or advice or to give me some talking points when I needed it, or just to be a sounding board. Quite honestly, as an independent broker, I didn't have those people to lean on as much as I do now. And so for me, that was part of it. Also, figuring out how to take the wheel somebody else has created and lean into that and not be the one that's trying to recreate everything every time. And so that was kind of my decision in making it. As far as unsuspected or unexpected
Mhm.
surprises, we grew like exponentially after that, and the market reception in our area was fantastic. And so I think I had, as all leaders do, we question our
Mhm.
decisions. And I had to really sit back and just kind of embrace my decision because it was too late to change it. And then to watch it unfold for the positive, to see all of my agents impacted in such a great way and embrace this new idea, this new brand, and run with it was just, it was so exciting. It really was. It created for a very exciting time, just as we then launched into what we could probably agree was one of the craziest real estate markets ever.
Yes, absolutely. And so in 5 years, and it's 2020 to 2024 data. So 2025 RealTrends Verified GameChanger, but we base it on, up to 2024. So you grew 119% by transaction side percentage. So tell me, what do you attribute that growth to? Did you have a big merger? Did you have, I don't know, was it just all organic?
Most of it was, yes.
Okay.
So we have a very unique culture. And so I would say our culture has definitely been a driving factor in it, and pulling people in and hopefully training really great people and agents. But also, we did have a merger in, what would that have been, April of 24. So as we were kind of rolling through, I had a broker in the market reach out to me that was looking for an exit strategy. And we were able to put that together in a very positive way. And so that helped. But it definitely was more about, again, it's that people first philosophy. So for me, it was making sure that the agents had the tools and the support and the help they needed to get to the next step, no matter what that next step looked like. And
Yeah.
always being willing to be the person who was paying attention, seeing what's around the corner, and trying to prepare them for it as best as possible.
Yeah, and we know scaling culture is really difficult, and it often stretches culture, leadership, systems. So, how have you scaled internal systems and that to, as you've grown, and how has that changed your culture, or has it changed your culture at all?
I would like to say that it hasn't. You're always going to have those folks that say, gosh, we're so big,
Hmm.
right? And I love when an agent comes in and they say, man, the company's just getting so big, too big, they may say, right? Um, and I'll look at them and say, I'm so glad you brought that up because I was just thinking that maybe your business has gotten too big. And I was hoping maybe you could give the next 10 deals away to a new agent. And then they look at me and you can just kind of see the light bulb come
Mhm.
on because they're like, oh, okay, yeah, I get it. That was not a great comment. Um, but with that, right, as you
Mhm.
grow, you have to be mindful that you are going to need more people.
Mhm.
And so we have always been very cautious about adding staff, but understanding that we need them. And, the adage of hire slow and fire fast. And so we want people that align with our culture. And if they don't, then we're not going to keep them around, because we can't afford to have one person who isn't aligned with the vision of the company. Otherwise, we won't get where we're all trying to go. And that works for agents too. I mean, as we've grown, I've had top producers in our market that have reached out and wanting to join. And for one reason or another, we're just not the right fit for them. They're great
Mhm.
people, but we're just not the right fit for them. And so as a leader, you have to also be prepared to say no to some people that might be hard to say, because they may be carrying all the weight in the company they're currently at, and now they want to come work with you, but bringing them in, you're going to lose five other people on the other side of it. So, or it's going to negatively impact the culture that you have really been working to nurture and grow in a positive way.
Yeah, that's always a hard thing to do, and I think all brokers know they have to do it, but actually making that cut or deciding not to hire someone who is a top producer is really hard, you
It's
know?
so much easier said than done, Tracy. I mean, my gosh,
Definitely.
like it's easy to say, "Oh, I wouldn't hire so and so," but then all of a sudden that person shows up at your door, and you're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, yeah, okay." Now the rubber meets the road, and now I have to make that decision. And
Yeah.
then there's a way to, because you don't want to necessarily broadcast that,
Mhm.
but you also need, especially the people that are your core, to understand that you are making those decisions for the company, because that builds trust. It builds the belief that we are in this for the true culture of the organization and not just the bottom line.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So the market, it's been a little slow. It's changing. Interest rates are down, but it's still kind of a chaotic market. So how are you advising your agents, and how are you helping them navigate the market today?
That's a great question, right? And it's I think being readily available and being willing to accept everything as a possibility. I, Nobody has all of the answers in this market. And if
Hmm.
they even remotely pretend to, they're not being truthful with their team, because we don't know where this is headed and what's coming. We know things have been slower. Time on market has been longer. The variation between list price and sell price ratio seems to be growing a little bit. We're not seeing the multiple offers like we once saw. We're still seeing them, especially here in West Virginia, but just not at the level that we were seeing them before. And so now we're having to help agents understand, especially if they've been in the business 5 years or less, how to have a conversation about price adjustments or extensions on their listing contract, or things they need to do to get more traffic in, or explain to the seller why it's taking more than 2 weeks to sell their
Hmm.
house. And so, again, looking at everybody's different situation and understanding that in a changing market, you may have an agent that's on this side of the spectrum today and tomorrow be on the totally different. And being well versed and well able to answer the phone, be communicative. We do a Monday morning call with our team every Monday morning for even just 15, 20 minutes. And we kind of set the tone for the week. We talk about what's coming up. We talk about challenges. And I think just that little bit of collaboration and being able to share what challenges people are having and talk about them very openly and share with solutions. Agents in the company may have a solution I haven't thought of. And that's great. Let's bring that to the table. Let's talk about it. So I think, brokerage in general has changed in recent years, especially with I mean, technology just is driving this industry now.
Mhm.
And so you have to be mindful of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And so let's talk about technology. Obviously, the buzzword is AI right now, right? It's automation, CRM automation, chatbots, predictive analytics, which is not necessarily AI, but is very popular right now. So, what in tech investments are you doubling down on?
So I would say yes, right? That's the answer is yes. It's again back to my statement a minute ago. I don't think I can say this is the one thing that's going to change the way real estate brokerages transact business, find business, manage business, nurture business. I don't think that we can do that right now. AI is a monster all of its own, and we're all learning how to utilize it. Is it great? Absolutely. I mean, I think that I'm able to give myself an extra 2 to 3 hours in the day by leveraging AI in a positive way. Do I think it's going to replace the realtor? I don't. I think that we're still in a emotionally driven industry where human interaction is a core piece of the process. And I don't know that we're at a place where that's going to change exponentially. I mean, there's always going to be that piece of technology that concerns people. But I've been in this 26 years, so I remember when our MLS transitioned from the MLS books to the online MLS,
Mhm.
and there were agents who thought that was the end of the real estate agent as we know it.
I remember
Um,
that well. So, yes.
but it wasn't. And this
Mhm.
isn't either. I think this is still just it's a pivotal moment in real estate, in the industry, but in all things.
Mhm.
And technology is going to continue to be that piece. So to
Yeah,
answer your specific
absolutely.
question, what am I doubling down on?
Mhm.
I think for me, the automatic nurturing of potential clients is the key. Agents are overwhelmed with everything that's available to them, plus trying to just manage life. And life has gotten hard, regardless of what anybody says. People's opinions can be shared so quickly. Technology makes it easy to be judged or to judge others as opposed to just taking time to understand people and think. Right, thinking's hard. That's why people judge. I read that the other day and thought, that's pretty interesting because
Yeah.
we all do it, and sometimes without realizing it. So I think for me, that piece of being able to nurture potential clients, organize them in a way where you're able to check in, but maybe they're being babysat by AI is a very productive way to help agents do the piece that tends to be, and I think the reason it is because it is that piece that's easy to put off. I'll get to that later. I have to write the contract. I have to show the property. I have to take the kids to soccer. And so I'll work on my CRM later. So I think if we can figure out how to bring that back around to the beginning, then all of a sudden the potential business that may have been slipping through the cracks becomes something that those agents are better able to capture. And so I think that's the piece that I've really, really kind of leaned into recently and will continue to do.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just smart. I mean, right? Recruiting or lead generation, both of those are, you could use a lot of help with that with AI. So,
Yes, I agree
yeah.
with that.
So looking ahead 3 to 5 years, what major trend or shift are you most bullish on in the real estate industry?
Oh gosh.
I put like brokerage model, consumer behavior, regulatory change.
Yeah. I mean, it's all of the above. I mean,
Yeah.
I think we saw a lot happen over the last year with
Mhm.
regulatory changes. And I think there were a lot of agents that panicked. And then you start hearing, the rumors that everybody's leaving the industry and this and that. I just looked at numbers this morning, and we had a 12% increase in licensees in the state of West Virginia over the last year alone. And so I don't think that's accurate. I think, we that have been in the industry, the OGs, if you will, it was a change for us. The new folks coming in don't know any different. This is just business as usual, and it's going to be business as usual for the consumer as well. And I think that's the part that we have to kind of focus on and not be so scared of, because I've seen brokers that are scared and concerned about the changes. And I think that if they can just lean into the idea that it's going to be business as usual now, and treat it and deliver it that way, because it is, the consumer receives it well. Our agents are seeing success with that. I think that, we're going to always continue to see, in this age of technology, you're going to see mergers, acquisitions, consolidations. That's just the nature of business in 2025. And I think that you're going to see that continue to be kind of the plan moving forward, because the cost of everything has gone up, and there's no denying that. So to be able to scale is the way to combat the cost. And you have to scale to survive, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. And so what about philanthropy? You have is it REC kicking cancer, or REC kicking cancer?
REC, yes. So
REC,
our
okay.
company before we affiliated was just Real Estate Central. And so
Okay.
we kept that as kind of a nod to our company. So REC Kicking Cancer is the foundation.
Okay, great. So, you also have some leadership roles in your realtor association. So, how do you see the role of purpose, community engagement, and reputation as it pertains to building your brokerage and growing fast, based on that community reputation?
I think that in today's world, people in general like to see folks that are connected to the community, that are givers, that are, it's really about that idea of culture and community. And I think people are more focused on that when it comes to consumer motivation than it is being the biggest or the best, or like that. Those things are important. Don't misunderstand me. But I think that we're really motivated by emotion in today's world. And I think a lot of that is because of technology. There's that key piece that technology can't give you, right? And that's that heartstring pull, that emotion, that connectedness to community and helping others. And I think that if, I live in a community that if I don't take care of them, they're not going to take care of me, right? And I think that's every community in America. We want to see people who genuinely care about where they're at, what they're doing, who they're serving, and that there's this idea that we can still help one another, that we can be the bigger person and help people step up. And it's disheartening sometimes, because you watch with the age of technology. I mean, I got in this business at 18, and having just come out of high school, like, I was bullied all the time in high school. And even today in a leadership position, you're bullied, right? And it's like we it, you feel it, and it's how do you react to it? And so managing that reaction and just focusing on what's important, and that is taking care of people. And as long as you keep that at the forefront, I think we're going to be great. All industries, will battle with this, because I mean, I was raised in the 80s, right? We didn't have technology. We watched Saturday morning cartoons and rode our bikes, and we didn't wake up and scroll social media for an hour. But that's the change that we're seeing in the industry, and more importantly, the change we're seeing in society. And I still think there's this glimmer of desire for compassion and connection. and you have to keep that in mind with everything you do.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, my last questions are kind of rapid fire. So, what's one business book you think every real estate leader should read?
Take the Stairs. It's a book by Rory Vaden,
Mm-hmm.
and it's really a great read about you don't get there the easy way. You have to take the stairs. Don't ride the elevator. There's no lessons on the elevator, right? So it's a great book.
Oh, I'm going to have to read that one. I've never heard of that one before. So, what's the biggest real estate myth you wish agents would stop believing?
That it's easy. Right? I'm going to get my license and I'm going to be just like the people on HGTV. I mean, I see people get into the industry and think that all the time.
Yeah.
And it's, we work hard and it's not going to be easy. And this is a job. You hear people say, I'm going to go get a real job. This is a real job.
Yeah.
And so it's not easy. It's not meant to be easy. If it was easy, everybody would do it.
Yeah, absolutely. If you weren't in real estate, what career do you think you'd be in today?
At this point in life, I would probably be a psychiatrist, because I really enjoy like listening to people
Mm-hmm.
and then offering questions which make them think. And I've become very good at that, and I actually enjoy it. So, and then watching people grow and thrive. I've seen agents come in and completely change their place in life by thinking differently, working differently, getting different results, and they're doing things for their spouses and their kids that they may have never thought was going to be possible in their lifetime. And to be able to continue to motivate and inspire people. So I would say either a psychologist or some sort of motivational speaker. Those would be the two things I would be doing.
Okay. And I know you're in West Virginia. Are you in other states as well?
Yeah, so we actually operate in West Virginia, Kentucky, and Ohio.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to ask you about West Virginia. So describe the West Virginia market in one word.
Exciting.
Well, Josh, thank you so much for joining RealTrending. I appreciate you coming on today.
Hey, I appreciate you guys having me. Thank you so, so much.